Charlie, first and foremost, why not us? Thoughts on the game, my friend?
Yeah, it was a fun game. Definitely an entertaining game to watch. No one would be able to call this one boring. It was back and forth. Goaltending on both sides was strong. I thought Vladar made a bunch of amazing saves. I thought Marshall made some really good saves. To me, the big takeaway that I have coming out of it is I was very impressed by the Flyers and their response after the Devils cut it to 4-3, because the Devils at the end of the second period, they are flying. They were all over the Flyers. They obviously cut it to 4-2 near the end of the period, but there were like 3 or 4 chances they had to cut it to 4-2 before they finally did break through. And then at the start of the third, they're flying again. They're all over the Flyers. Zegras makes a bad play that leads to the 4-3 goal. Then I think it's Hathaway has the puck over the glass penalty. And you're thinking, oh, man, not only is this game going in overtime, this game might not even go in overtime because the Devils might just score 3 more by the end of this period. They're rolling. The Flyers found a way. They found a way to stabilize. They found a way to reset on the fly. And after they kill that penalty, the Flyers are the ones pushing forward. They're creating chances. They're not sitting back into a shell just hoping that Dan Vladar, saves their bacon through the final 11, 12 minutes of the game. They're going out there and they're trying to add another goal onto the total. And I really like that. I like the fact that they didn't just sit back. I like the fact they were able to regain their momentum. And I asked Travis Konecny about it after the game, and he said, number one, which was interesting, he said that in between the second and third, Nick Seeler stepped up in the room and said, if we want to make the playoffs, these are the kinds of games you got to win. These are the kinds of games, a game at the end of November, second game of a back-to-back. This is the kind of game where you just got to find a way. And then it had something ring a bell in my head, because I remember after, not last season, obviously last season was a disaster, but the season before that, the year that they go to game 82, they don't get in the playoffs, but they last through the entire way of the season. I remember we interviewed Travis Konecny in his exit interview, and he basically said, the big takeaway I have from this season is that the nothing game in the middle of November, in the middle of December, on the road, that game matters. That maybe, being a young player, I might not realize how much that game actually matters in the grand scheme of things. But, you're looking back and you're thinking, man, maybe we wouldn't have had to win game 82 and get help if we would have won one of those games. Well, this was one of those games. And Konecny said, look, going through that 2 years ago, because I brought it up to him. Konecny said, hey, going through that 2 years ago and learning that lesson, that benefited us on this night. That we were able to just be like, you know what? It's second game of back-to-back, fourth game in 6 nights. We're tired, but this game will matter. If we want to make the playoffs, this game will matter. And that's growth. That's learning. And that's hopefully, because I'd like to think, Bill, I really would. I'd like to think that these years of mediocrity, these years of them not achieving anything, I'd like to think that it ultimately means something beyond just a bunch of fans yelling about it. I'd like to think they took some lessons. I'd like to think that, that they can learn something from failure. And tonight, it really does seem like they learned from 2 years ago, from 5 years ago, whatever. Some of these guys have been on this team over 10 years. They learned from that. And you know what? That makes me feel good that maybe this thing really is trending in a positive direction.
It really felt like it tonight. And actually, I'm just looking at the box score. It looks like TK's goal got converted to an assist, and Mish had 2 in the second. Really? Is what the box score says now.
So they switched it?
So okay. TK's goal does not end a goalless drought. It is now Matvei Michkov has 8 goals, and I guess that's where we'll go here. Charlie, with or without, like whether or not that counts for TK. The first one, the Mishkov goal. One, it's out of the box, and now that we know he used to basically threaten John Tortorella to put him in the box, he gets called for what was an absolute BS cross-check, but it ends up helping the Flyers. He just felt engaged tonight. We named him the game changer, the Elkin Chevrolet game changer. He's making defensive plays. He's intercepting passes. He's back checking.
And Bill, that makes it 6 shots on the night for Mishkov.
6, yeah. So what did you think of Mish? And man, he's probably got to play more than 13 minutes tonight now.
All right, well, I'll get to that in a second, because I have something I want to say about that, which is basically, actually, you know what? I'll say that right now. I'm going to give you the Stephen A. Smith. You know something? I don't care. I don't care. I really don't. I am so sick of this discourse. I don't care. You know what? If he's still getting 12, 13 minutes a night next month into January, whatever. This was a great game. Flyers won a big game, and a back-to-back. They won the second game of a back-to-back. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Now, if we want to talk about the play of Matvei Michkov, I will talk all day about the play of Matvei Michkov because I think he had a great game. I think he was really good. Now, look, whether he scored that second goal or not, if they're giving him credit, I know that I did see Travis Konecny point at him after that goal was scored, and Mishkov did lead the handshake line. So I was watching it on replay. I didn't see Mishkov touch it, but hey, I tend to trust the players, and in the moment they were saying they thought Mishkov had it, so good. I'm glad Mishkov got 2 goals. He had a really good game, was making defensive plays, was skating well. Obviously, he has the big play on the goal right after the penalty, which I didn't really think was much of a penalty. So it's not even one of those where I could be like, well, you made a mistake and then you got rewarded. Like that was a BS penalty. It was a really, really bad call, and puck don't lie. He scores a goal right off of it. But he's playing well. Do they have to get him more minutes? Sure. But I can't bring myself to care right now. I can't. I truly cannot. And I guess I'm just tired of the people who see it seems like the only thing they care about in hockey games is how many minutes Matvei Michkov got. Like the Flyers won a big game. They had a great road trip. Matvei Michkov will eventually get more minutes. They're not going to trade Matvei Michkov, okay? You can calm down on that. You can calm down. They're not trading him. They love the kid, okay? He's playing well. I hope the minutes trend upwards, but I'm not going to play this game where it's like, well, the game was great until I looked at the time on ice charts, and then I got big mad that Matvei Michkov only had 13 minutes. Great game by the Flyers. Michkov continues to trend upwards, but I'm not playing this game forever. I'm just not.
Homie's not playing that game.
I put a lot of other stuff in that question, Charlie. I think it's an aside that a guy plays a great game and doesn't get 13 minutes, but I think it's most important he played a great game, and this one at both ends of the ice, where there are actual plays I can look at and go, yo, he just intercepted that pass to set up a scoring chance that he almost finished at the other end. In the third period, this guy who supposedly came in out of shape, he's back checking and getting a great stick lift and taking away a scoring chance. That's huge for the development of a young player that we hope the world for. Next question. The Flyers are right now in third in the division, Charlie. They just handed the New Jersey Devils, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, their first home loss in regulation. Do we have to start taking them seriously as legitimate playoff contender? Because I look around the East and go, other than Tampa, who's great? The Flyers are just as good as basically anyone in this freaking conference.
I don't know if I go that far. So, I mean, I think the Hurricanes are significantly better than the Flyers. I think despite the fact that the Flyers have a better record right now than the Caps, I think the Caps are better than the Flyers. I do think you have to take them seriously as a contender for a playoff spot. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think you 100% do. And if for no other reason, then they bank these wins. I don't think the underlying quality of their play has been fantastic, but I think it's been good enough to keep them in the mix. And my hope, is that it trends upwards as the season goes on, as they get a better handle on Taka's system, and maybe we're in the process of seeing it right now, as Matvei Michkov starts to play better, as Travis Konecny starts to play better. I thought he had a really strong game tonight as well. He obviously gets the goal taken away. It seems like now Michkov's got 2, but I thought Konecny was really strong in this game. This was more of a Konecny scoring points, but maybe not looking like he is as dominant, is as strong as the point totals would have you believe. This was a game where I thought he looked the part of what Travis Konecny should look like. So if you've got Travis Konecny playing better, if you've got Matvei Michkov playing better, if you've got the team as a whole playing better in the Taka system and doing a better job executing what he wants the team to do, then I think you have to take this team seriously. Now, to what degree? I don't see them as a team that's going to go on a run, but could I see them making the playoffs? Of course I could. I think they're very much in the mix. And again, this is what the Flyers wanted. They wanted a competitive team, a team that can play meaningful games well into March and April. And right now, as long as they keep getting great goaltending from Dan Vladar and guys like Konecny and Mishkov keep trending upwards, I think they absolutely can.
it all hinges on the goaltending holding up. Like maybe it can even out if Mish and TK are like
Maybe.
this good and trending up, and that could. But it all kind of comes down to, yeah, if Vladar is this good, I think they could even win a round maybe. If he regresses, then it's, well, we probably don't have to take them as seriously, because as well as they played tonight, as fun as the game was, he had to make some absolutely outstanding saves to keep this one. But like, I keep having to remind myself the goalie is part of the team.
Yes.
Like, yeah, man, they went and gave him money to play for them in hopes that he would win them games,
Well, it was
and
like
that's what
last
he's
year.
doing.
It was like last year when people kept saying, well, the Eagles wouldn't have won that game without Saquon Barkley. Well, that's why they paid him money to
fair.
do that.
That's true.
And that's why they paid Dan Vladar the money to be this guy. And, it's really inspiring that he stepped up in the way he has after there was a lot of, hemming and hawing over, is this a good enough guy to be the main goaltender?
All right, Charlie. Got to move on to Owen Tippett. He gets the 2 goals tonight, one in hilarious fashion, because he doesn't actually score. He gets hauled down with an empty net. That's a goal. But he played, I thought, as well as we've seen him play recently. He's got 3 points. He's +2. He breaks 100 career goals, 200 career points. What'd you think of OT tonight?
I thought he was great. I thought he was one of the best players on the ice for the Flyers. Somebody made a comment in my mentions that Nemec is going to have nightmares of Owen Tippett in this game, and I think that's very true. It seemed like Tippett was just like I thought about asking him this question, but it's probably one of those questions that's better asked off the record, like next practice, and just like, hey, like, basically I want to know, like, were his eyes getting wide every time he went on the ice for a shift and Nemec was out there too? He's just like, oh man, I'm going to take this kid apart, because it just seemed like every time they were on the ice together, like Tippett was just like, oh man, here we go. This kid doesn't know how to play defense. I'm on. Because he had that one play on the Zegras goal where he just blasted him. I mean, Nemec is a good skater. Like,
Yeah.
he is not a slow skater, and Tippett just blasted by him like he was standing still. No, this was good Owen Tippett. He has the really nice move in front on the 100th goal of his career, which was nice to see. Look, if the Flyers got this version of Owen Tippett every night, Owen Tippett will be an all-star. Because this guy, I mean, this guy's a game changer. This guy is almost every shift you were noticing him. He was showing his speed. He was showing his power with the puck. Unfortunately, I don't know if Owen Tippett is ever going to be a consistent enough player to play like this every night. That just might not be what he's capable of. That it's just like, yeah, when he's at his best, he can do this 20 times a year. Right now, he can do it about 10, 11, 12 times a year. But it's fun when he does it, because he can do it. At any game, he can have a game like this. And he was awesome tonight.
He was very impressive tonight. I hate to bring up negative stuff, Charlie, because I know you're anti that right now.
I'm not anti-negative. I'm just sick of the Matvei Michkov time on ice discourse. I'm
at
tired
least
of it.
last I checked, which was like halfway through the third, the Cates Forster TK line got caved again. I know the other two seem to be going a little bit. Bobby Brink maybe not getting the same amount of time. They mixed that up a little bit, but do they have to do something about Cates Forster Brink? Because it is not it's not Cates Forster TK, because it is not as effective as Cates Forster Brink has been.
Yeah, I think maybe look, like, they just won 3 straight games and they had a successful road trip. So do I think they're going to change it up now? No, I do not. I think they'll probably roll with the same 3 lines, at least for Monday's game. But to me, it does seem like there's a logical shift here, and it's probably just putting the Forrester Cates Brink line back together and moving Konecny back up to play with Mishkov and Couturier, because Konecny is looking better. Like, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get Konecny in a different spot, is because he just wasn't passing the eye test for me. It's like, yeah, put him with somebody else, see if it'll work better. Konecny's looking better to me, and you're not getting the same territorial dominance from the Cates line that you were getting when they were together. Now, granted, they were dipping a little bit before they got broken up, but those guys know how to play together. I think that might be the tweak that you make in the relatively near future, but I don't think they're going to make that tweak for Monday's game, simply because, hey, they've just won 3 straight games on a tough road trip. That was, I'm sure, an exhausting trip. I mean, they played 4 games in 6 days, and one of their days off was Thanksgiving. Like, probably a tiring trip. So, to win these games was big. I mean, I would have been happy on this trip if they would have finished 2-1-1. Like if this, granted, if you blow a 3-goal lead, that's different. But like if you come out with 2 wins and an OT loss and a regulation loss, I think that would have been a successful trip. To go 3-1 on this trip, that's a really successful trip because these were not easy games. I mean, Tampa, as you said, maybe the best team in the East, even given the fact they're dealing with injuries. Florida's still Florida. The Islanders have been playing well, and they got like the next superstar defenseman playing incredible out there. And the Devils are a darn good team. I mean, the Devils are in the lead in the division. So this was a tough road trip, and they came away with 3 out of 4 wins. Like at some point, you're probably gonna have to shake up the lines, but I can't imagine they're going to do it after a trip like this.